It has begun.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Geek Remix podcast. My name is Stacy.
And I'm Mari.
First of all, we wanted to start with a very special announcement because we kind of talked about this before and people apparently thought we were joking.
No.
The Geek Remix dating sim is real and it is going to be released very soon. The content will be released episodically. The first chapter is free. We made this. Well, no, we didn't make anything. Tess.
We
made
gave
it.
money to Tess.
We gave money to Tess, who
Stacy supported her Patreon, and I just gave Tess money under the table, and now she won't even take money from me anymore.
But for those of you who don't know who Tess is, she's the Chic Monster on Instagram and Twitter. She is the person behind most of our Geek Remix animated videos, and she expressed interest in creating a dating sim for us. And so we got a couple of our friends, including Manga Minx, Hoodie Panda, Laura K. Buzz, and Todd. The infamous Todd from Dream Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
So we got them to supply their characters and personalities, and Tess put together what I'm sure is going to be an amazingly hilarious and fun thing to play. So you guys can look forward to that very soon.
Yeah, so it's going to take place in a high school, and where everyone's going to be neurologically the same they are in real life. I don't know how to...
So basically what Mari is saying is that Mari's character in the game has OCD like she does in real life.
And everybody can date everybody, and the main character is gender and sexually ambiguous, so you can be anything you want.
Yeah.
So Tess intentionally made it so the main character has a completely ambiguous thing on those two sliders.
Yeah, so I don't think that it's you pick your avatar, right?
No, you don't pick your avatar, yeah. But you basically it's
like a visual novel where it's you don't quote unquote pick a character, but a lot of visual novels will make the protagonist very ambiguous so that you can be whoever you feel like you want to be.
It's a little bit more than a visual novel. It has some point and click elements to it, but mostly it's a dating sim.
Oh, yeah. No, I just meant in the visual novel sense that you don't choose your character.
Oh no, I just was trying to clarify. I know that you knew.
Yeah. So yeah, we're very excited about that. If you guys want,
I'm showing them the stuff on screen as you're talking.
And if you guys wanted to read more about the development and see some of the behind the scenes shots and gifs and stuff, Tess is, I think she's the Chic Monster on Patreon. And she's posted a bunch of stuff over there, about its development and her working on it and stuff. It's really cool.
AJ's in it.
AJ is in it.
Yeah, everyone always asks, hey, is AJ in it? And I'm like, yes, AJ's in it. I mean, I'm in it too, guys. No, is AJ in it? What is AJ doing? No, we want to hear about AJ.
The real question is AJ as much of a pain in the ass in the game as he is in real life?
Did you see his art?
He looks like a doofus.
It looks exactly like him. The one on the right is always the best.
So, if you're playing, every 5 minutes, does he just start barking for no reason?
No, he makes high-pitched noises for no reason. Also, the soundtrack... Everyone seems to really like the soundtrack, and it's pretty nice. And
do you know what the person's name is that did the soundtrack so that we can give them a shout out right now?
Maglo, so MAG.LO.
Okay.
And I have their SoundCloud and everything linked in the video because everyone was like, "Oh, I thought that was a joke." I was like, "It's not a joke. Here's a video. It's real."
So many. Honestly, though, okay, so I don't always read the comments on every video that we do because I just don't have the emotional energy, but I quickly glanced through the comments on that video and it's oh my god, they're great.
Yeah, well, because on Instagram I was like, guys, the game's almost written. They're like, wait, it's real?
There's the comments on that video are a mixture of excitement, thirst, and wigs getting snatched.
Yeah, that's all the comments they're saying.
Fall into those three categories. It's so good.
I really hope people like it. Tess said that when she was writing it, she cried a lot, so that means it's
great.
good. No, not out of frustration, but crying at her own, like, written drama.
Yeah.
Have you? Yeah, we've all been there writing our fan fictions. We were like, it's so sad what I'm writing.
I think I cry because of myself more than anything else, so that's accurate.
But it all looks super good, and I'm like dying to play myself.
Oh yeah, and so we're gonna do a let's play for that, of course.
Yeah, well, okay. we're gonna have to date all of the characters to see what's going on. Blah blah. So, oh yeah, the first chapter is an hour long, and it's free, as you guys can all play it. So we hope you like it. Some point and click and stuff, and I don't want to say like any plot points, but love the plot points I've heard. It was pretty cool.
I know absolutely nothing about this. Is like one of those times where I'm going into something knowing like pretty much nothing about it, aside from the fact that I have abs and biceps, and I was very happy about that.
Good. Here on screen, Stacy's abs and biceps. You know there's gonna be a bunch of fan art of you like holding girls in the air, right? Like picking girls up.
Oh my gosh.
Them around.
I was thinking the other day about how much I wish I knew a person that was like kind of like either like a child or a medium-sized dog, so that I could try push-ups with like somebody on my back, but I don't think I know any adults that are like small enough.
Well, why don't you put AJ on your back?
We could definitely. Well,
AJ fits that.
We're gonna do that tomorrow.
Okay, we'll put it on Instagram.
We'll definitely do it. And then something else that we were like talking about before we actually started this podcast was, which is like not really related to gaming, but I kind of wanted to bring it up because I heard about it from Gavin, who does his Miracle of Sound. So he's an independent musician that does like music inspired by video games, and he posted this article about how Apple and iTunes is going to be phasing out purchase downloads for music. So the gist that I gather is that like what they're basically going to do is like a year from now, I think, is when they're going to implement it. They're going to have it be so that instead of like actually buying and owning the music, you just pay for a subscription to Apple Music and you can stream everything like Spotify. Now, you can, when you use Apple Music, you can still download stuff to listen to offline. But it just means that like you don't own it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Netflix, like download and watch offline. Like you still don't own it, but like Netflix allows you to watch offline in case you go on a flight or something. So I don't know. I just like I wanted to bring it up, I guess, because it's like it's getting like so hard for creators, like especially with, you know, musicians and like everything moving towards streaming to like make money. That's because it's like a musician, the number of times that you have to stream a song in order to earn $1 for that person is like thousands of times or something like that.
If it's anything like YouTube, it's probably 1,000 times you have to play it.
Yeah,
to get $1.
I think that I feel like it's in the thousands of numbers of streams, because I remember he posted about it one time because people were asking like, hey, like, you know, I listen to all your music streaming, like how much does that support you? And he was like, well, you know, like if that's what you want to do, like that's fine, but you know, the best, I feel like with musicians and like YouTube creators and like artists and all that stuff, it's moving more and more towards stuff like Patreon.
There's one thing that annoys me is when people are like, well, musicians need to like adjust and everything. Well, it's like annoys me because like
adjust to like their trade not making money anymore.
A completely capitalistic nightmare, basically. But one of the main things like musicians and bands have to do is they have to go on tour to make up for that, and it's just like a lot of money's like not being very balanced. Like I know my brother-in-law, he goes on tour a lot as a lead singer, and he'll sing so much that he completely loses his voice,
Yeah.
and like he's in a lot of pain, but he literally cannot stop singing because if he doesn't, like, they're just not going to make any money.
Yeah, so it's like what, they cancel tour dates and then everyone gets upset and like,
Yeah,
yeah.
he can't cancel, and he like gets laryngitis so bad that and so painful, and then his or his whatever it's called, fucking what's a record label is like, okay, you done finished singing here, okay, well now you have to do a press event and sing some more, and he just has to keep on singing, and it's really painful and uncomfortable. So if you guys want to support a band or whatever, buy their merch and buy their music. Like, if you can't afford like literally everything, try and buy something for like $1.
Yeah. But just find a way to like actually like purchase a thing. I mean, and like if you can't well, hold on. Another thing I want to say though, because I know that not everybody is in the position to buy stuff. Like, another thing that you can do to support someone for free is to like spread the word about people that you like. So
or like make fan art or make cool posts or stuff like that. That's what I see. Like, people are like, oh, I feel bad because I can't afford to buy Life is Strange. And I'm like, well, you could always like buy like a Life is Strange like thing like for $5, or you can make fan art, or you can participate in the positivity and the fandom, stuff like that.
And like telling, because it's like, if you tell like friends of yours that, or like you post about like this game that you really like, then maybe somebody else will end up buying it, or somebody will find it and enjoy it that wouldn't have found it otherwise. Like, that's still valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just try your best to support.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is like,
not everybody's got cash to burn. Yeah,
totally true. And I mean, bringing it back to like YouTube, just because like that's what we do, so that's what we obviously see the most of. Like, I feel like sometimes people don't understand. They're like, oh well, like, why do creators complain about not making as much money? But like, if you're not like a huge creator, like, smaller creators don't make that much money off of advertising. Like, like, we've never made like enough money off of advertising for the two of us to both be fully supported by it. And like, and now the money has gone down so much because YouTube has made like lots more restrictions and rules. And that's just the way it is. Like,
it's slowly bouncing back, but like in this really stressful, like, maybe nope, yes, I don't know. Like,
I know. Well, do you remember? I remember, what was it, last March, when the like first wave of the apocalypse hit, and like all the brands like boycotted YouTube, and it's like our earnings fell down to like literally 25% of what they normally were for a month. And you and I were just looking at each other. That's when we made that video. Do you remember that? We made that video being like, holy shit, we're so fucked.
I don't know what to do about that. Like, and it's such a hypocritical thing because fucking, what's her face? That did you hear about what's like that Nazi lady did on Fox News?
No.
Well, she had been like basically a full-blown Nazi on TV for a while, but then she made fun of one of the survivors of the most recent school shooting. And he's like 17 years old. And she made fun of him on Twitter saying, LOL, 4.1 GPA and got to rejected from 4 schools, like blah blah blah. And the kid she was attacking goes, you know what? This is unacceptable. Here's all her top advertisers. Please contact them and ask them if this is what they want to support. And they're all like, so far I think 6 have pulled out since yesterday.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Gen Z. You're succeeding where millennials have failed. We're very proud of you.
I don't understand how this is related.
Just made me think of advertisers pulling out, but like, how YouTube, like, people say shitty things, but, like, on mainstream media, people can say so much worse and do so much worse things that, like, actually tangibly hurt the world, and it takes so much more for that to happen.
Yeah, I feel like one of the issues that YouTube has, and obviously like we've talked about this before, but one of the issues with YouTube obviously is that like because it's the advertising buys are algorithm driven, like a company can't obviously say like what exactly is going to be on the programs that I put my ads in front of. Like they really don't know, you know? Like even if they pick like categories, those categories like, you know, you don't really know exactly what's going to be in there. Um and so that's where brands get like really scared and skittish because you know, like there was a period of time where YouTube kind of was like the wild wild west with like all sorts of stuff on there that had advertising on it, and like, you know, if brands are like okay with that, that's fine, but they also have a right to pull their ads if they don't feel like, you know, putting their brand in front of it. I think some people understand that like, you know, a brand putting their ad on YouTube doesn't mean that that brand has actually seen that specific video, but some people really don't see it that way. You know what I mean? It's not like a television program where like, you know, Starbucks doesn't choose to put its ad in front of our YouTube video specifically.
Oh, but we've been getting a lot of anti-abortion videos on our videos apparently, which you know what? I'm pro-abortion. I'm not pro-choice. I'm pro-abortion.
Oh my god.
Take that, ads on our videos.
That's fucking crazy. Hey, if you watch our videos and you see crazy ads like that, can you please, is there a place to report them? Can you report ads?
I don't know. There's been some really messed up conservative ads on YouTube.
Yeah.
They're so weird.
I feel like there's gotta be a place to say, like, this is not relevant or something like that. Like, because Twitter and Instagram allow you to do that. They allow you to say, like, I don't want this content. So,
I don't know. I don't understand. I've given up on just, like, trying to... It's like trying to herd cats with YouTube. You're just like... Maybe they'll decide to go in the direction I want them to, but...
Yeah, well, the tricky thing with YouTube is that, and that, like, I think that a lot of people don't really understand is that, like, people are like, no, but YouTube wants to show more ads because then they make more money. And I'm like, no, what they want first is for their clients to purchase more ads. They won't have more ads to show if the clients don't purchase them. Do you know what I mean? So, like, the companies are who they want to impress first. Way more than creators. And I'm not saying that they're like, they don't care about creators at all, but like if they had to choose between one or the other, it's definitely going to be the companies, because the companies are the people that pay them. It's like the whole, like, you know, the company has to buy the advertising spot before there's an ad to even show. So anyways, this big long tangent.
Sony blocks PS4 game about picking up women.
Yeah, so Sony blocked and refused to sell Super Seducer, and
we know some of these articles are old, but we still think they're juicy, so we're gonna take a bite.
Yeah, so I don't know. I wanted to talk about this because it's like I feel like having played the whole game now. First of all, I support Sony as a private company being like, hey, we don't want to sell this. But I don't really think there was anything in that game that made me say, like, they shouldn't sell it, you know?
Well, I think that the game was, like, highly, like, I hate to use the word offensive. I guess the better word would be disturbing. And I've seen a lot worse sold on the Xbox Live store. Remember that Nightmare World?
Oh, my God.
So we've seen a lot worse. I think the... quote unquote, I don't want to say.
Are you saying that like I've seen too much and my expectations are just like, well, it's not like literally telling you to, you know, kill women, so it's fine.
I think the issue here is that it gives advice in a subtle enough way that it can make a real impact on people's minds. Does that make sense? Like, if it was more over the top, I would be like, whatever, like, people are gonna know. But, like, this is a much more subtle way of saying, like, be a normal person, ask about her days. Then she'll trust you enough and you can trick her into fucking you. Like that shit.
Yeah.
So it was a lot closer to that. And I think Sony was like, I don't even want to deal with that drama. You know?
No, and I mean, I totally understand their decision, like, especially in today's climate, I guess, where people are a little bit, like, companies, I feel like some of them are being a little bit more sensitive to, like, do we really want, you know, because even if you look at the game and you're like, oh, I don't see anything wrong with it, like, I think most people could agree that it is considered controversial to some. And
I
some
consider
companies,
it to be a lot more. It was simultaneously less disturbing and way more disturbing than I thought it was going to be. It's really well done.
I guess what I'm saying is I think that even somebody who looks at the game and is like, oh, I don't see a problem with it, I think they could at least realize that some people would consider it to be controversial. Do you know what I mean?
Just having a game just like on your platform that's just like how to manipulate people to fuck you is kind of like weird. I mean, and at the same time, I remember we did play straight up pickup advice games on Xbox Live.
I know.
But I guess, but those games were kind of just like they were plopped out there, and Xbox Live didn't care. Well, this one had a lot more.
But the thing is that, like, yeah, I mean, well, first of all, the Xbox Live store had a lot of steaming heaps of garbage on it. And I think that Sony is probably trying to take a little bit more of an active role in managing what goes up on their store.
Sony's just more woke. What can I say?
Maybe. I mean, there's still some shit up there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them too much credit because I feel like this one was pretty obvious.
Maybe this is a good sign where companies are trying to be a little bit more aware of the current world's climate and how people feel. And on top of that, the growing female base of, like, potential customers. Because if you put that on your platform and you're like, I don't give a shit, you're kind of alienating a lot of possible future customers in a budding demographic.
I don't know if that's really it, though, because it's like there are so many, I feel like there are so many other games that maybe they're not exactly like this, but
like other games on Sony's platform,
or just like on Steam and like whatnot that like
I feel like Steam and Sony are not really comparable in that Sony has a lot more identity with the games that they put on their platform.
You said like the way that you were talking about it made me think that you were talking about like industry in general.
Oh no, just Sony.
Okay.
But hopefully, well, the way I see it, Sony and Microsoft now are a lot more strict with what they put on their stores these days than they used to be back in the Wild Wild West of 2011.
Those were some days.
But
if you guys ever want to go look at some of the stuff that we found on there, go check out the Shitty Looks playlist.
You can't get better quality shit than that.
You can't, and the thing is that like you don't find stuff like that anymore.
It's better than the Steam bullshit you find these days.
Yeah,
it's just
it
has the perfect level of effort that was put in while still being complete garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest though, I kind of miss it.
I miss it a lot. I miss it every day.
I miss it every day.
I think about it every day, thinking, like, when are we going to be able to get back to there?
I know. Xbox Live Store, I miss you so much.
Yeah, oh my god, it was so amazing.
If anybody knows of similar shit that we could find on Steam, I might be open to.
But the thing is with Steam is, like, it's completely open, so you can't find, like, that perfect level of effort versus shit.
And one of
like,
the
so you
issues,
have to try.
Like, one of the issues with Steam, I feel like, is that a lot of like the quote unquote shit that ends up on there is just like asset flips that's not like really funny.
Yeah, like, it's not funny. You gotta have this perfect level of like, this guy put a lot of thought into his in-depth erotic fiction that he made into a video game.
Oh, what was that? What was that like Pleasure Island or
The Beginning? Yeah.
The Beginning.
There was like also like, this woman who was a cop, and then remembers like, how many orgasms did I give to you last night? I don't know. And then he becomes a soul or some shit.
Wait, I feel like we find that on Xbox Live, or did
we did.
I thought that was more recent.
No.
Huh.
How many orgasms did I give you last night?
How many orgasms did I give you last night? And we were both like, this is not real. What?
This is made by a man.
And the next one that I wanted to look at was the developers who Play Dead, who created Limbo and Inside, have partnered with a sex doll manufacturer to create a $375 special edition.
A special edition for what?
I think it's for their it's a special mystery collector's edition of Inside. They don't actually tell you what's in this collector's edition.
It's probably going to be weird flesh shit, nothing sexual, but it could be.
They partnered up with Real Doll, and you don't know what it is. It's all up for speculation. Pre-orders are actually, I don't know if they're still taking pre-orders right now, but they're not going to be.
My theory is that they partnered up with Real Doll because they're good at making realistic body parts. Yeah, so they're probably going to send you like a weird blob. Maybe.
I mean, it's $375. Oh my god, maybe it's like, remember, it's like the thing at the end?
Yeah, I'm looking at the wrapping paper they're showing in the article, and I'm like, it's probably going to be something like that. It's going to have like arms and shit. So that's probably why it's going to be so expensive.
The question is, does it have a hole?
That's important.
I mean, that's an important
What if it's
question.
Something else that does have a hole in it?
Yeah, I mean...
Or another question, does it have extruding appendages?
Does it have appendages or a hole? I feel like that's kind of a key selling point. Like,
maybe it's a plumbus.
We're not going to tell you what it is, but it has a protruding appendage, it has a hole, and something on it vibrates. So whatever you want to do with that combination of items...
It's not a sex toy. It's a commemorative collector's edition item.
Exactly.
But it does these things.
Yeah.
So just saying.
You decide.
I kind of I don't have $375 to spend, but if I did, I'd probably make a bad choice and spend it on this.
So obviously the Oscars happened a while ago, but there were a couple of things that I wanted to touch on just because, history in the making type stuff. Jordan Peele became the first Black writer to win an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for his first movie, Get Out. That movie was so good.
It scared the shit out of me. I saw that movie with Todd in theaters, and we were both freaking out. Yeah, we were both freaking out because I honestly, we go in and he's like, oh, it's made by the guys by Key and Peele, and I had previously seen Keanu, a Key and Peele movie about them going to find a kitten.
Oh my god, did you think it was going to be a comedy?
Yes. They didn't explain. He and his friends were like, we're going to see Get Out, and I was like, oh, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's about, white people being racist or something. And I was like, oh, it's going to be like a comedy, making fun of liberal white people, or something like that. And then so I'm like, when does it get funny? When am I gonna laugh?
Oh man, I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't seen it, but it's very good, and
the way he explained it sounded still like a comedy to me, and I was like, it's not funny yet. Where does it get funny? I'm just scared.
I knew that it was going to have horror elements to it, but I didn't know obviously exactly where it was going. So I was like, this is great. Guillermo del Toro won Best Director for Shape of Water, and Blade Runner 2049 took home Oscars for... He took home Oscars for Best Visual Effects and Best Cinematography.
Can I just say something about... I'm already clapping. I'm sorry. I'm already clapping. But Emma Stone, why you gotta be like that when she was announcing the directors, where she goes I don't remember the name of the female director, but she goes blah blah blah, and then And then Four Men, kind of completely ignoring that uh, the director of Get Out was in that list, and it was kind of a big deal that he was there.
Oh, it was
I don't want to associate that female director's name with Emma Stone's actions.
No. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember like exactly it. I don't know that it was it the Get Out guy. I think there was another guy too that was like basically the problem is that people did not take into account like intersectional like
she was doing that
identity
like
stuff at all, and was just looking at like, oh, there's a woman and so I care about the gender balance, but not looking at all about the people of color that are also being represented in this category, that is like kind of history making for them to be in this, you know.
Yeah, some people would call it quote unquote white feminism. You can call it whatever you want. It was just kind of like, Emma, this is strike number 3 for me. You gotta start thinking about the things you do and say.
Yeah,
well, you're a sweet girl, and I'm sure you had the best intentions, but like, come on.
I think most people refer to it as white woman feminism.
White woman feminism, not just white feminism?
Yeah, because the people who think of only because the people who usually end up like tripping up on stuff like this are typically white women.
Yeah, so, and like, I can see where it can come from. Just like, you know, when people are being like pro-feminism, just remember to be like, also include, you know, women of color and stuff like that.
And in this instance specifically, the issue that people were pointing out was that like, yes, it's great that there's a woman in this category, but there were also like
some men of color
that are
who made
also
some pretty important, impactful movies as well,
and are typically not well represented in that category either. So like, to only focus on a woman is, you know, it's overlooking the fact that there are other it's kind of like, yeah, you know, you want to make sure to like keep in mind that there are other intersections of like identities and like sexuality, gender, and race, that like you don't want to just look specifically at like one category and be like, we did it, or like,
yeah, because it was kind of like, it wasn't just excluding, it was kind of like stepping on them, and that wasn't like cool.
Yeah,
to be like, it doesn't count because you're a man. He's like, didn't say anything, but I was like, come on, like, we're here, we're in this together, like, not, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And like,
it's just our choices for roles in the past were a little tone deaf, and I was like, girl, I know that you have the best intentions, but you gotta think outside yourself.
Well, there was that like Hawaii movie. Was there another one?
Aloha, and there was another movie called The Help, and it was so, I was like, are you serious? Like, I can't believe this movie was made. Like,
yeah.
Especially considering that the movie, the person who the movie is about was like, don't make this book or movie about me. It was so condescending.
I never read the book or watched the movie, so
I watched, like, it was like on one of those days where it's like on TV, and I was like, what is this movie? Like,
yeah,
really? It was basically about how hard it was for, I don't even want to repeat the plot because it just makes me feel racist.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was like, I feel so bad myself as a white woman who has servants, and how embarrassing. Like, oh God, I can't even, like,
and
I
like,
can't.
Yeah. I feel so bad for my servants, but I still have servants.
Exactly. That basically was the movie. And the person who the book was written about.
I feel so guilty about this. How do I reconcile my guilt?
It was basically the movie. I was like, I'm looking at it like, why did you make this movie? Who let you do this?
Yeah. So next story was from our good friend Laura Kate Dale, who was talking about how there are hypotheses that we may hear more details about Life is Strange.
How does she do it? How does she get all these secrets?
We don't have any details yet. This is more just like a speculation that we should see some details.
Her speculations are always correct.
I know, which is why like we got to put this out there. Like she's great. The one thing that I did want to like for sure confirm though is that I feel like some people were like, "Oh, I wonder like what character from Life is Strange they'll follow next," but like don't not already confirmed that this second game that they're working on is completely new cast of characters.
It's over. Let them rest.
It's over. It doesn't follow the original game in any way. So
it's over, everybody. Let them rest. Wouldn't you rather have what we have and not risk it being ruined?
Yeah, so what they did say was that they posted on the game's official Tumblr that we look forward in the coming months to when Michael Koch and Raul Barbet's team I'm sorry if I'm saying their names wrong, by the way, I'm very sorry, returns to present the new story and characters of the next Life is Strange. So it should be in the next couple months.
I'm very excited because if they have a whole new cast of characters, that means they're going to be able to listen to the feedback of the fandom.
I really hope so.
Or take like a bold move, like, you know, the main characters in Life is Strange, beautiful, amazing. Maybe we can have a little more racial diversity. Maybe we can have a main character who's more defined with their sexuality so that people can feel like it's not like being like skirted around. Maybe we can have those things, you know? Maybe they'll listen to some feedback.
I wonder, so obviously like with some games, I feel like the tendency is to not define it too much so that the player can kind of like insert themselves. Like obviously, you know, with Max, like some people honestly like wanted to date Warren in that game. And like, I wonder if that's why they kind of left things open.
Yeah, but at the same time, when the main character is a straight guy, it's just confirmed as I'm a straight guy immediately and I'm nothing else. So why can't we have, you know, not that?
No, I know. I'm just, I'm not saying that we can't have a more defined character. I'm merely looking at their previous choice.
Yeah. And I hope, because, listen, Donut, you're in France, Paris, France. Pressure's on you to push the boundaries, okay? If you don't, France is disappointed, okay?
Wait, why France?
Because they're always doing the best stuff.
Really?
They're always pushing it to extremes with the horror genre, with the romance genre. They're always being like, I'm gonna do this. You can't stop me.
I've never watched a French romance movie.
I have. It was called Blue is the Warmest Color.
Oh,
I got really bored and skipped to the sex.
That's not really a romance. Well, I don't really look at that as romance.
And what about Amelie, I guess? She was kind of ace, in my opinion.
I never watched that.
You'd probably hate it, but I love it. It's too whimsical for you, I think.
It's too like, I want to know what's going on. That type of thing.
Well, I think you would just think everyone in it was annoying.
Because it's like risk.
It's like a really quirky romance where you're like, I think I watch it and I'm like, oh, but if you watch it, you'd be like,
I don't know though, because I really enjoyed The Shape of Water, and that's definitely like whimsical romance.
No, haven't seen The Shape of Water, but I can already tell it's a fucking dude locked up in a government facility. It started off where you like to be, Stacy.
It's not a dude.
Amphibian humanoid creature.
Yeah, it's a
merman. But what I'm saying, like, for you, it started off like, this dude is locked up. There's no hope. She's just eating eggs by herself. Like,
I did really enjoy that movie. I thought it was
I haven't been able to see it yet because I haven't found anyone I trust enough to go see it with.
Well, you can't go see it at this point.
Why is my life so hard?
You waited way too long.
Well, the person I was going to go see it with didn't go see it with me, and then I just forgot.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. It's going to be great, though.
Monster Hunter World is now Capcom's best-selling game ever.
not surprised. It's a pretty fun game.
Yeah, with combined digital and physical sales of over 7.5 million copies, even before the PC release, which is due out in autumn.
I can't wait for the PC release because playing on the Xbox One, non-upgraded version,
Xbox.
Like, I was like, I could tell what it was supposed to look like in greatness, but it was downgraded so much. I was like, I'll just imagine what I'm supposed to be seeing. And then I saw it on an Xbox One, like the upgraded one, Scorpion, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck this. I'm mad. Yeah. I want to play it on my PC. It's gonna look amazing, or it will break and it won't work. That's what you're gonna get for PC ports from consoles. It's either gonna look incredible or it just won't work.
Or it's gonna be a broken nightmare. Yeah. They have shown the first trailer for the upcoming Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery mobile game.
You gotta finish the books, Stacy.
I know.
Stacy made an ignorant comment about Slytherins the other day. So ignorant. When you were like, why do they have a house where all the evil people go? I was like, Stacy, incorrect. All the evil people come from Slytherin, but not all people go to Slytherin become evil.
I'm just saying, if you have all the evil people in one place, you should just murder all of them before they can murder you.
Oh my god. You know who would say that? Slytherin. Voldemort would say that, okay?
Voldemort would say that. I am not a Slytherin, however. Somebody was asking what our houses are. Are you a Ravenclaw?
Yeah, but real quick point. The person who says that is Ron Weasley. So we don't actually know if that's actually true. You know? If only all the bad wizards ever have come from Slytherin. Like, that seems statistically improbable, even with personality tests, considering the Sorting Hat usually is stuck between two houses for the kids when he's talking to them.
I don't know.
Because he was going to put Hermione in Ravenclaw, and he was going to put Neville in Hufflepuff. Like, he was, like, it's up in the air for all these kids.
Yeah, but the thing is that do you really, the type of person, I guess, like, the type of personality that goes into Slytherin, do you really think that you could mistake them for going somewhere else?
Well, you know, Harry was gonna go to Slytherin.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's not because, like, Voldemort was in his head.
No, it's because Harry's evil, obviously. That was the story that J.K. Rowling never wrote.
Well, he is canon. Damn it, I can't tell Stacy why it's possible it was a certain way. But, like, it often happens where, like, you know, the Sorting Hat is, like, stuck between 2 or 3 different houses you could belong to, and it asks you what you want.
Wait, do you mean that perhaps, just maybe, even in real life, it means that people are complex, multifaceted people that have lots of elements to their personality, and that if you choose to embrace certain aspects of your personality, that's kind of up to you?
Well, interesting note.
Sounds weird.
J.K. Rowling, her series of books after that explored that because it was in the future and people were sorted into different communities based off of their personality types, based off of a test similar to, like, the Sorting Hat. But it was about people who were divergent from that sorting.
Wait, you're not talking about the Divergent series, are you?
Yeah, that's made by J.K. Rowling.
Really?
Let me fact check it, but I'm pretty sure it was.
No, it's not.
I thought it was.
It's written by Veronica Roth.
I thought that was the same person.
What?
Nope, I'm wrong.
I didn't know that J.K. Rowling had another series of books.
I know that she wrote something under a pseudonym as a man.
She has a bunch of, like, books that are not. So she has a couple names under Robert Galbraith, and then a
Yeah,
couple
I
books
remember
that are like not about magic stuff that are just like general fiction. But I don't think she wrote another.
Oh yeah, you're right. I had to fact check that, but I do remember when she first wrote under that
Synonym?
her book was praised for being so well aware of women's fashion for a man.
Oh,
They were
fantastic.
like, "Wow, he really understands women's fashion and like a woman's point of view."
Because you know that. Okay, so
Because of the inherent sexism in the industry.
Listen.
When a man.
Listen, I have read so many books where it's like it's this male author like describing what is supposed to be a very fashionable woman, and they're like, she was wearing a brown leather skirt with a navy turtleneck and a pearl necklace and clogs, and you're
like, oh god.
And I'm like, oh my god, like what? This is, and you're like instantly taken out of the story.
I was listening to this book that was so clearly written by a heterosexual man, or at least somebody who wasn't attracted to men, because oh wait, no, it was that podcast we listened to with Geometric Satan, and
What?
It was like she was describing this guy who was supposed to be attractive, but she just named off several male celebrities and said he looked like a mix of those people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but did you hear about that guy who basically wrote Shining fan fiction, and then he was like, "It's not fan fiction, it's academic,"
Yep.
and it blah blah blah, and everyone's like, "You wrote fan fiction,
like you
okay?"
wrote fan fiction, and that's totally fine. But like, let's call it what it is.
No, but he was like dissing on it, and everyone was like basically being like, "Oh, so he's a man, so therefore it can't be fan fiction."
Oh yeah.
Okay, so says it's not fan fiction. Oh yeah, okay. When men write fan fiction, it isn't fan fiction because it's academic.
And to be fair, like this is like this guy saying this. It's literally like just this guy. But I feel like some people think that fan fiction. But okay, so speaking of fan fiction, actually, the novelist Mackenzie Lee, who wrote The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is a very awesome book, by the way. Her sequel, Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy, is coming out this year. But anyways, she actually got her start writing fan fiction, and like she was originally writing like completely different types of books, and then on the side,
fan fiction is like the base. Is like how, like that's basically like practicing writing.
Well, so her fan fiction, a lot of it was like historical, like type fan fiction. Like, oh, I'm gonna write a fan fiction novel about these like historical characters and like, but what they would have been like that type of thing. And
that's literally real stuff people really write about.
Exactly. And so
like
she ends up getting a signed book deal for these like 2 really amazing books, and like. And I hate the idea that like these things can't be real, because it's like, look at all the books that are out for Star Wars. Like those are fan fiction essentially, because those people are writing about a universe. Do you know what I mean? Like they didn't create the universe. They're writing about a universe that was already created by somebody else.
So this guy named Lonely Christopher, I really need to just read what this fucking guy said. So he wrote basically the Shining fan fiction, and he admitted he didn't even really like read the book. He just had it in his lap as he was writing it. So,
so
the book is
he watched the movie.
Yeah, basically. The book is a concerted rejection of the standards of any type of literature.
What?
So in that way, it is reacting to the formal elements it eschews, and interacting with readerly expectations as well as the history of the medium. I guess the reason why this isn't fan fiction is because, first of all, it's not enjoyable in the same way, and then it's vaguely academic. Aesthetically speaking, it owes much to Stein, Beckett, Robert Grillet, and Bernhard. Intellectually, it has a relationship to Barthes, Foucault, Derrida, Debord, and especially Baudrillard. So it is having conversations with different texts in different ways.
Dude, it's so weird how like it's like I feel like so many good writers will be like, no, I suck at this, I'm so awful, like why do you pay attention to me? And then the ones that are not very good will be like, actually I'm like the next John Kerouac, or like Jack Kerouac, or like whatever. It's like but you know what? Okay, so what really bothers me about this whole story is actually not that he like says all this stuff. What bothers me is that like the reason he's saying this is because fan fiction has such a reputation of being like quote unquote not for women and like not quote unquote real writing. Which
and also for gay bullshit. People. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
And also, honestly, like it's a great medium for women and gay people because you don't get that a lot in media. So women and gay people have to make up their own stories.
You know, that's exactly one of the things that Mackenzie Lee was talking about, because she was like, you know, I wanted to write stories about people who are not typically represented in like tradition and like in media. Like, so the protagonist to Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue is a bisexual guy whose love interest is a black man. And like, that's just not something that you see very often. So,
and a lot of issues with like people who write things will get criticisms from either their writing teachers or whatever, or their editors being like, this character has quote unquote too many identities. As in like, oh, they're black and gay and trans. And it's like, yeah, a lot of people are those things.
You know, like, I never understand that, because it's like it's like that Tumblr post that was going around where it was like somebody being like, how likely is it that every single person in a group of friends that there's more than one gay person in a group of friends? And I was like, actually very likely.
Like, yeah, because like, okay, I'm biracial and queer and have a mental illness. Like, there. Yeah. Like, everybody has, like, 15 ands.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, why is a character not allowed to have as many things that make them not streamlined or whatever as possible?
And I guess it's just kind of like weird that like people can't see that, like, I don't know. I don't honestly, like, I don't think of us like, you know, like, oh, we're queer women that have like a mental illness. Like, I don't think of that as being that rare, because I know so many people that fall into this category.
Yeah, I like, it doesn't, maybe it's strange to people who've never been exposed to people like that.
Like, that probably describes like half the people that follow me on Twitter. You know?
That describes half the cast of PairANormal.
Yeah.
You know, and people are probably gonna, like, somebody's gonna complain, like, and I've already gotten asks like, how come none of the people in PairANormal like look quote unquote normal? And I was like, because that's what we look like.
We're real people.
We're real people. This is a real group of people that just happen to be in the same game, and like, that's just what happened. Yeah. You know, it's just.
What do you mean look normal? Like, what? Also, I'm just saying, like, Hoodie is pretty normal, quote unquote. If you're gonna give it like the like.
Well, you know, we needed to represent normies.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, he's our token normal character.
Yeah, he's the token normal. He's the token normie. Sorry, Hoodie. It's so funny because when I was thinking of like...
It's okay. We had to have one in the game to make sure that normies felt represented. Don't you guys feel so much better?
So when Tess was like, yeah, I want to make like a dating stand, I was like, okay, like, I'll go ask a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, what men can I ask that is not going to eventually betray us by saying something stupid on social media?
Oh yeah, and Hoodie
and I was like Hoodie and Todd.
Things that come to mind, yeah.
And then I was like, who else? Nobody. Not hating or anything. I respect people's opinions, but I wanted this game to be like clean, not like clean as in like nothing sexy, just like.
Yeah.
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
You don't need to be stressed out when you play this. It's safe. All the men, I wanted any girls playing to be like, these are good examples for me to date, you know? Like, what if, or girls and boys, I'm so sorry. Like, or anybody in between. I just wanted to have good male figures, like positive, like safe male figures.
I would go so far as to say that, like, everybody in the game, like, even though we're all, like, different from each other and, like, we have our own personalities and opinions, like, I think that we're all pretty chill peeps.
Yeah, I wanted to have people who were good. Like, when people are like, "Oh, Mari, I have like a crush on you," I'm like, "This is so much pressure because now I need to be a good example of who they should have a crush on." Like, you know?
Yeah.
Because I want people to be like, to have a good idea of what they should be getting out of their crushes, or like, I don't know. I don't want people.
I also, like, I feel like a lot of that burden falls on Tess too, to like write characters in a way, because I don't want people to think that, like, we had any hand in writing the dialogue, because we
no, all we did goes, hey, put our mental illness in there, also gay stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Tess gave us a very, like, what I thought was like a very thoughtful survey to, like, kind of suss out, like, what we wanted our characters to be like. So
yeah, we should tell them, like, it was like, give me some reference pictures for your sense of style, which was great. So Stacy gave her Instagram, and I just looked up the word pastel witch on Google, and then said, like, what's one, like, totem piece of clothing that you always want? And Stacy, you chose suspenders, and I chose crystal. Or maybe I just told Tess to put suspenders on you.
You must have said that, because I would never say suspenders.
Well, I made sure there were suspenders and muscles.
Wait, why would I want suspenders?
Because you're always like, remember you were like, I love having suspenders but not wearing them over my shoulders?
What?
I can prove this.
I've never worn suspenders.
Just not true.
I've seriously, like, I have my pair for Chloe cosplay. That's it. What?
I'm gonna have to find this, or somebody who's just recently watched literally all of our videos is gonna have to tell me.
Somebody who's memorized all of our videos. Can you please back this up?
I know that I am correct on this one. Usually I'm like, maybe I made that up. No, I clearly remember this. Where you were like, I've always wanted, or something like that, where something you were like suspenders. But anyway.
I'm pretty sure my answer for that definitely would have been combat boots.
Probably. I don't know. And, and then we were supposed to, like, describe, like, what do we do after school? What do we do when we are upset? How do people get to know you? Like, and just, like, it was basically, or what would be in your backpack, which comes into play in the game. Mm-hmm. What other questions were? It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. Behind the scenes information.
Yeah. Black Panther. So this story is old. So at this point, these numbers are probably way out of date. But Black Panther has brought in over $1 billion worldwide. It's the 5th Marvel film to break the 10 figures barrier. I wonder if we can get in.
I think it's one of the best ones, but I'm really glad it's doing so well, because it shows that, like, hey, Hollywood, if you make a movie that's, like, for the people they're for, not only will that demographic show up, all the other demographics are going to show up too, because it's a cool movie, and they're like, it's new, it's different, and they want to support people, and they want to see different types of people.
Black Panther has become the highest grossing superhero movie in the U.S.
Good.
It beat out The Last Jedi and The Avengers.
Good. Because I feel like this is really showing, like, if you make a different type of movie with different characters, with different experiences and different cultures and stuff, and it's gonna do well.
And not just that, but that, like, to put in that if you put in the legwork to create a world around diverse characters that people want to see, that you will be rewarded for it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So this gives hope to a lot of other minority groups who are basically being like, oh, yeah, I'm so glad this did well. Hopefully there'll be one for, like, my demographic. And, you know, it might even go past beyond, like, racial demographics. Maybe there'll be movies that are, like, more okay with showing, like, queer people and, you know, other types of people.
Yeah, I love I saw somebody talking about this, how it's like, it would just be so nice to, in terms of specifically, like, queer stories, that it would be great to get to the point where, like, queer stories don't, like, with Love, Simon, So Love, Simon is a queer movie that came out recently, and it basically, like, some straight people were kind of like, do queer teenagers even need this movie? Because it's like, well, because it's like a happy story. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
And and also because like, I don't know if it's just like that their take was that it doesn't like show like I feel like a lot of queer stories sometimes like they revolve around the like around confusion or coming out or like the struggle, you know? And it's like it's the same thing with movies about African Americans. Like, not every movie about African Americans should be about slavery. Like, there should be superhero movies. There should be like Girls Trip, you know, that's a group about a group of female friends who are women of color, and like that.
You'll notice that movies made for black people by black people often show them like as successful and happy.
And like,
I hate to cite Tyler Perry, but he's one of the main people who produce the most amount of movies, and a lot of it is like he'll like address like racial issues, but then also be like, I'm a successful person, like here's me doing cool stuff, not being like my life, like, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to. You gotta have more. You gotta give people of color more chances to get Academy Awards than playing roles in which they suffered, because that sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
Not all of us can be in 1940s World War II era romances about like lies and by rich people. Atonement, okay? The most boring movie I've ever seen in my life. Like, you gotta give people more chances, like, because having all these like historical movies getting Academy Awards all the time, when all the historical movies take place in in places where, you know, all the roles are only going to make sense to have white people in them.
It's either only going to make sense to have white people, or it's a story of struggle.
Or it takes place in Egypt and still stars white people. And you're like, wait, hold on. Wait, what?
We have a couple of YouTube stories, so I don't know if you heard about this, but did you hear about the guy who made Marcus Mechan, who made the video about his dog being a Nazi?
Happened? No!
So, but he was he was found guilty in a court of hate speech for doing this.
Wait, so like what he
did is he basically so I read, like, somebody sent me this story on Tumblr and asked for my thoughts about it, and so then I looked up a little bit more about it. And I'm not telling you guys this story because I think that I have like an answer of what I think should be done, because I think that a lot of this stuff is so like gray area, but I thought it would be interesting to like bring it up and maybe talk about our thoughts on it. So what happened is he's kind of like, I don't watch his stuff, but I guess he's kind of like a controversial YouTuber. So what he did is to play a prank on his girlfriend, he made a video of like teaching the dog to do the Nazi salute. Like if he said like Sig Heil, then the dog would Nazi salute. And like he was saying a bunch of other stuff that, you know, would be considered by many to be like pretty offensive. Even if you think it's a joke, like it's still an offensive joke. But he was arrested and convicted of a hate crime, I think, because of this. And like, yeah, it's very weird, because like on the one hand, I don't know. I'm not saying that I have any answers, because on the one hand, like, I don't know.
I think it's not cool, but I don't know. Is he going to jail or something?
I don't know if I think he's awaiting sentencing right now.
It depends on the punishment. There's also the fact that we live in the United States.
But I think that what a lot of people are talking about is like, even depending on what his punishment is, he was still arrested and found guilty. So he's going to be sentenced to something for committing
I
a
don't
hate
know
crime.
what the laws are, but in Europe, I know that like they're a lot more strict about
Nazi stuff.
Nazi stuff because honestly, they were touched a lot harder by that situation than us in the United States.
See, and that's the thing is that like so for people who are looking at this from like the US perspective and being like, "Oh, well it's clear that he's like, it's clear that he's joking and that he's not a Nazi." It's like, "Right. But if you know that you're not supposed to make comments like this about Nazis."
Well, it's also like historically for them, I guess the equivalent for us is if somebody in the United
Started
States
saying
put
this
on
stuff
a
about black people.
started saying stuff about black people and they were wearing a KKK robe, like
Yeah,
you don't know if they're being serious or not, and that's kind of scary.
it is
Like
scary.
that, it would be the equivalent of that. Like, and because in Europe that kind of threat is a lot more real and a lot more
Well,
like
because like
impactful.
people joke about Nazis as if they're like not real anymore. It's like there's still tons of Nazis out there.
Well, 10 years ago, I think this joke would have gone by fine, but now that there's like this resurgence of like Nazi
Of
bullshit,
like neo Nazis and everything. And
and not saying that they didn't exist, they've just gotten a lot more bold. I think that within the context, it's a lot more scary. But yeah, in Europe, that kind of content is a lot more scary because the Nazis actually invaded those physical places.
I
And
just like when people look at this and they're like, "Oh, but like what about free speech?" I'm like, "Right, but what if this was in the US and he'd been saying like, "Hey, like do you want to like
don't even make it up. Just like
do you
just
I okay, do you want to like and saying about like you can read the article, you can see like some of the stuff that he says in the video and just like translate that to like another group of people
yeah, just translate that to KKK talking about minorities and just be like,
or
oh,
just
because if that was done in the United States, that would be kind of that. We also have hate speech
or even like
laws.
if wherever you are, like what's a group that you're a part of, how would you take it if somebody was making a video like that was directed about a group that you belong to and that you might feel more sensitive to, because I know that for some people it's like they have a hard time conceptualizing it if it doesn't like directly affect them, but like
Yeah, and it could also be perceived as like an actual call to
call
action.
to action. Yeah.
Because honestly, with the alt right movement these days, there's a lot of things called dog whistling, in which they'll have like a code that only other racists can hear. Basically, you never hear something and you're like, that seems racist, but I can't quite like figure out how it is racist.
It's like a code.
Yeah, so kind of like remember Pepe the Frog? That was kind of like they would put the frog emoji in their tweets just to be like, just in case you guys are wondering, I'm a racist, like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of communities do that, and it's not always like a bad thing.
Well, don't say because dog whistling and
No, I know
and
it's not the same as dog whistling, but like
yeah, dog whistling is like,
I'm
hey
trying
guys,
I'm trying
like
to like say to people that this is different than other communities that might adopt a symbol that they use just for them.
yeah, they're basically using memes for the dark side,
For the dark
and
side.
so like when people are making these jokes now, like it's really hard to know if they're joking or if they actually mean it within the context of today's stuff.
And here's the thing is that if somebody tells a joke, if somebody means it as a joke, does it really matter if it's
Because you're still using somebody else's fear and pain for your own laughter.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, if somebody it's like if somebody like hits somebody else with a car, they might not have meant to hit them with the car, but they still did it. you know? Like it
Or it's also like when people say like the N-word and they're like, well, I didn't really mean it that way. I was like, yeah, but you're still using like somebody else's A identity
Yeah.
and B a word that was used to oppress them for your own amusement. And it's like hurting them, but you think it's funny and like harmless, but you have no idea what that feels
Well,
like.
and it's like, and for people like thinking like, oh, well, then like, we can't have offensive jokes, and it's like I can think of so many other offensive jokes that don't pick on a group of people that you could do instead. Like, there's tons of, like, you
why do you think we only have disgusting sex jokes
it's
all
like,
the time?
well, it's like you don't have to, like, give up, like, edgy humor. Like, just, you know, the people that are like, oh, well, like, this is just edgy humor, like, you can't have edgy humor anymore. And it's like, no, that's racist humor. And it's like, you don't have to include that to be edgy. There's plenty of things that you can say, you know?
I feel like we're pretty edgy, just in a different direction.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, it's kind of like, you know, when people are like, oh, like, do you know how many times we hear, like, oh, I had your video on and then you started shouting something and my family overheard and I was very embarrassed. And it's like, aha, so we are edgy.
Ha ha! Kids, we're on the edge. Stick with us. Yeah.
It really cracks me up how sometimes people have been like, oh, I was like watching your videos with like my grandma or my parents or like whatever, and I'm like, oh,
don't do it, man.
Don't do it.
Bad choice.
Well, I mean, if you want to, I suppose that's if they're, I don't know, if
you have that kind of relationship.
Yeah. But we can't be held responsible.
Hey, you know, we tell our kids, not my kid. I don't have
your
kids.
Your kids?
I don't have kids.
You have kids.
I refer to our fans as our kids.
Yeah.
You're my babies. We tell the kids, do your homework. I feel like despite our disgusting ways, we try our best to be good role models in the ways that matter.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's you can be a role model that still makes a lot of jokes about semen.
Yeah, because
semen's funny.
Semen is funny, and farts are funny. And vaginas are gross. You know, they're always sliming it up. But at the same time, do your homework and respect people of all types of genitals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In other YouTube news, there was a interview with YouTube where they clarified.
Oh, wait, can I just clarify?
Yeah.
Stacey and I are not saying that, like, this guy should go to jail for making a YouTube video. No. I don't think he should go to jail. I think maybe just, like, do some community service or something at most. Like, I don't know what the laws are over there or whatever. I don't think it deserves jail time, but I'm just saying, like, it's a complicated subject and we're two Americans. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's why I tried to say, like, at the very front of that segment that, like, I don't have, like, I'm not trying to present, like, my opinions as, like, the one right answer.
The one true truth.
The one true truth. I just thought it would be interesting to talk about. So, there was an interview with YouTube where they talked about how, so you know how, like, everybody always complains that they don't get notifications and stuff?
Yeah.
For videos? So basically, what you have to do in order to get notifications from a channel, you have to, like, so YouTube actually came out and said, like, no, of course we don't notify all your subscribers about a video. Which basically what happens is you have to, 1, subscribe to the channel. 2, you have to enable notifications with, like, that little bell icon that you can find on the channel. 3, you have to actively engage with the channel. So even if you have subscribed and you've enabled notifications, if you're not, like, watching videos from that channel and you maybe haven't clicked on anything in, like, a couple weeks or something, YouTube will stop sending you notifications. So they only want to send to people, like, who are, like, your most active subscribers, I guess, is their... But it's like, okay, and, like, I'm not, like, I understand. Here's what I don't understand about this is that, like, if people have already opted into notifications, that means they want to see the stuff. You know?
Is it like, it's like, I don't even know. I feel like it's constantly having to bitch on social media all the time to get YouTube to do things, you know? Like,
well, and this also really hurts like, so we put out daily content most of the time. This really hurts people who put out content less often, because if someone's not clicking on their stuff, like, all the time, then their stuff is automatically going to get hidden. So somebody
How is it like? This is. And now we're gonna have to bitch about this on Twitter. Like, can we just have a real dialogue with YouTube?
I already bitched about it on Twitter.
I know, and we have to do it until YouTube feels so stupid they do something about it.
Yeah, so...
And then it just makes us all look like assholes all the time. It's like, I'm sorry, this is the only way. There's no other way.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I feel like people get so frustrated and they're like, oh, like, YouTubers are such whiny babies. And it's like, yeah, but, like, unless everybody raises their voice and complains, nothing changes. You know what I mean? It's not like there's, like, a YouTube helpline that we...
Do you know how much stuff had to happen to get Logan Paul to go the fuck away? He had to, like, kill animals.
I know.
It wasn't only, like, he filmed a dead body. YouTube itself didn't do anything at that point. He put himself on hiatus. And then he came back and played with animal dead bodies and killed a fish. And then YouTube was like, I guess we'll, like, press a button. God!
No.
Like...
It's just ridiculous.
It's just like so much has to happen to get YouTube to do anything. They were still promoting close-ups of that guy's girlfriend's butthole. God.
Yeah. So, in other weird news, the Utah State Bar, which is like the association for lawyers, they sent everybody on their mailing list a picture of boobs. So they sent out, like...
Was there, like, any sort of... What if it was, like...
No. So
I only saw the headline, and I thought maybe this was some sort of, like, legal entrapment or something.
You can see what the email is if you scroll down.
Well, no, I just wanted my image of, like, my first idea of what this was. Like,
trying to get...
Like, some sort of... It's like a plot point in the movie where it's like, if every lawyer in Utah sees her tits, they can't take the case. Like,
yeah. Basically it was like some sort of like email newsletter that they sent out, and whoever was creating it like accidentally threw... I don't know how you do that, because like...
Whose boobs was it? Just some boobs? It looks like professionally done a boob picture, like a professional boob picture.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's like... Yeah, I don't know.
Is that like... It seems... like a professionally done booby pic.
I don't have any more information than you do at this point. I don't know that the boobs have been identified. That's a good question. You know, I don't know if they're gonna like create a boob lineup to see if they can find the person behind the boobs. But
I know this probably isn't what happened, but it would be amazing. Actually, it wouldn't be amazing. This is bad and it's sexual harassment. But
you went from amazing to sexual harassment. What on earth?
Well, I realized what I was saying, because then I was like, wait, if someone sent their dick to everyone, that'd be gross.
Yeah.
So, but if she was just like, someone's like, you know what? I want the world to see my boobies. Just one lawyer being like, you'll never catch me.
Yeah, that would definitely be sexual harassment.
Yeah, so it would be funny if it was in a TV show, but not in real life.
Yeah. Merriam-Webster has added the term dumpster fire to the dictionary.
I'm so glad we've destroyed the English language.
I know. The definition, U.S. informal, is an utterly calamitous or mismanaged situation or occurrence, a disaster. I love it. I kind of love that, like, we have these moments where they put out articles where they're like, oh, bootylicious has been added to the dictionary, and everyone like freaks out that we're like absolutely destroying words, even though when you look at like all the stuff that old-timey people used to say, like they said stuff that was just as ridiculous. We just don't see it that way now because it's old-timey, you know?
I'm just like so excited for the future of words. I want to hear all of them. Thank you, Gen Z, for saving the world. Basically, Gen Z is going to save the world. You're doing an amazing job with your anti-gun stuff right now. Good job, Gen Z. We're proud.
That sounds a little dismissive, but I do agree.
I'm not being dismissive. I'm being 100% serious.
I think it's because you're saying it like, thanks, Gen Z, for like fixing the gun stuff. That's like super cool of you.
But it's true. They're fixing everything. Like like us millennials, we just complained about it. We're like, don't do it anymore. And now Gen Z is like, we're actually going to fix it because you can't do anything. We're like, oh my god, you're so right.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. Gen Z, you're killing it, and I'm so proud of you.
I mean, it's honestly a real shame that it had to come to that, though.
I know. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with this, Gen Z, but I'm so glad you're stepping up.
Yeah.
You're better than us.
It's like, it's just really, I mean, I like, so something that I see a lot of like older people talking about on Twitter, like people who are like in their like 50s and stuff, is how like people who are like generally on the side of like gun legislation, they talk about like how it's fucking embarrassing that like all these politicians are essentially being schooled by like teenagers, and it's like they're trying to be dismissive of teens as if their opinions shouldn't matter. And it's like, okay, I understand that like when you're a teenager, like maybe you don't always make like the same decisions that you would make as an adult. I know I certainly didn't, but like your opinions still matter, and it's like there's still a lot of like really awesome stuff that kids and teens can do. Like just because they're young, like doesn't mean they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, you know?
I think another issue is that people who are trying to defend guns in the radical way, for example, some of the hosts on Fox News.
Oh god.
If you keep up with this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or NRA, the NRA, they're used to being able to bully people who are defending guns because they're used to their advocates or whatever being adults who like they can attack, but they're not used to having the people who are against them being A, kids, and B, victims, and C, know how to navigate social media and how to behave and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just like it's really fucking embarrassing to see like politicians and like NRA mouthpiece. I mean, like I know that we don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but regardless,
they're bullying those kids.
It's like regardless of like where your opinion on the matter is, it's still really embarrassing to see politicians bullying kids.
Yeah,
regardless of what your opinion is, it's embarrassing no matter what side it happens on. You know?
It's embarrassing for us as a country that we have gotten to this point where anybody is making, like, all right, Stacey and I are allowed to do it, but it'll make us assholes. But we're not fucking politicians where our job is to, like, be chill.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if Stacey and I did, everyone would be like, wow, they're fucking assholes.
Yeah.
But, like, we're not representing, like, the law, so it's okay-ish? Not really, but, like,
well, but I mean,
you
like,
know?
There have been times where, like, you know, people have, like, sent us messages on Tumblr, and, like, when you respond, people get pissed at you for how you respond. And it's like, okay, like, you're allowed to get pissed at me about that. But, like, if, like, a politician, like, they're supposed to be, I don't want to say they're supposed to be better than us, because they're
supposed to be better than us, honestly.
I mean,
they're supposed to be the best of us.
Yeah.
They're supposed to hold themselves to that standard.
And like people just, it's like they act as if it's just a given that all politicians are like, you know, shitheads and liars, and I'm like, but that's not how it should be. So yeah.
Yeah. So everyone just like, you know, don't be mean to kids.
Don't be mean to kids.
I feel like I look at what's her face? I can't remember her name. She has short hair. She's pretty like the leader of the
Emma? Is that her name? Emma Gonzalez?
Yeah, I look at her, I'm like, she's basically older than me. She's more mature. I'm like, I hope I'm her when I grow up.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel when I look at her. I'm like, wow, I hope I end up like her when I'm older.
You're also very immature, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm always be young.
They found the oldest known message in a bottle in Australia.
What did it say? Dick butt?
It's from 1886. So.
What did it say?
I don't. I wonder what it did. I don't know. What did it say? I don't know that they have the message in here.
Oh wait, here he goes. I found it.
Where?
The note was too damp to open initially, according to the account. A group waited for it to dry, and they were amazed to see that it was carefully written in German. Quote, "The first thing that caught my eye was the year field 18 blank," said Illman's husband Kim. Wait, it seems to...
No. This isn't what the note said.
Damn it, I was wrong.
That's just
sorry.
a quote.
Well, they unraveled it. It has to say what it said.
I don't think that they have the message in here.
Why would they not do that?
I don't know.
Because they said they unraveled it.
Yeah, I basically just thought it was neat because it's like literally from like 130 years ago.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really cool. Yeah.
People used to send this stuff. People used to like just drop like message in a bottle into the sea like all the time, and like the fact that they just like wash up now is like kind of, I don't know, that just seems really cool to me. You know, it's kind of like when they find like I don't know, just like discoveries of like what was it, like they were trying to like make a continuation of like the subway in like the United Kingdom or something, and they ended up finding like an old like army base or something like that, stuff like that, you know. It's like, oh, we didn't even know this was here, and now we're finding a whole bunch of bodies. I just wanted to, we've already been on for a long time, but the one thing that I just wanted to add was that if you are looking for, we talked a lot about diverse characters and the necessity for stories like that today. So if you are interested in reading a book that is about a diverse group of characters, stories that are not told as often, I would highly recommend Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. She's a Nigerian-American author, and it's a YA book about characters.
Young adult?
Yeah, young adult. It's essentially, but it's like a fantasy novel set in like an African type setting. It's incredibly beautiful, and just like, you know, I kept thinking about like Black Panther, honestly, while I listened to it on Audible. And the narrator is just really amazing, and like I just kept thinking about like how it was so cool to listen to a book that's so different from like, you know, so many fiction books are just like, you know.
The main character looks like Storm. Yeah,
they have she's part of like a magical clan, and they have like white hair. It's like, oh, it's so cool. It's like, it's almost like X-Men, but in Africa, and like fantasy set. It's really cool. Highly recommend it. If you wanted to listen to it, you can visit audibletrial.com/geekremix. If you haven't used Audible before, you can listen to a free book on us. And if you wanted to keep up with my book recommendations, you can of course find me on Goodreads. That's goodreads.com/geekremix a lot, and I normally keep it pretty updated with like what I'm reading and what I think about stuff. So anyways, we should probably wrap things up. Did you have anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
I don't think so.
All right. So keep an eye out for PairANormal. We are also going to be working on a game roast video because we hit our next Patreon goal. So thank you so much to everybody who has supported us on Patreon. You know, as we've mentioned, it definitely helps us out a lot, and we're excited to take a look at. The winner is Heavy Rain, so we will be taking a look at that.
Jason.
I know.
Jason.
And if you want to keep in touch with me in between videos, you can find me at Geek Remix a lot on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. Go ahead.
Oh, and I'm Geek Remix on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
So.
And keep an eye out for PairANormal. It's probably going to be on Itch.io. It's going to be out probably by the time you hear this. Goodbye.
Bye.
I almost hung up on you, Stacey.
Oh, nice.